Hello everyone, how you doing today? Thought I would show you what I've been working on again for a couple of days, and it's a bunch of prototypes, all kinds of things I wanted to try out and test and see the ins and outs of them so I can get kind of a better idea of stuff. To start with, my first attempt here, this is a SV miner with turrets and a couple Gatling guns. Loosely based around a TIE fighter, loosely, very loosely. I like the interior view. It's kind of got a double plate of glass on here. This one has some issues though, and it has to do with the placement of the drills actually. Uh, Essentially, these top drills I think would perform better if they were a couple blocks inward, which doesn't exactly align with the body. I originally had these drills out on the outside here, but it worked a little better having them there, but it really could use another drill in there. When they were out here, when I was mining with the thing, it would, unless you were like going back and forth constantly, it would kind of mine a hole on both sides and leave a bulge in the middle, which kind of sucks. So that is the big issue with this miner. Now I tried again. I don't like the looks of this one terribly much, but it's capable. Another SV miner. Now both these miners have quite a lot of storage in them. Like this one, for instance, with harvest has 20k harvest storage on it, and then 3,000 ammo storage. This other one also has 20k harvest storage and 2,000 ammo storage. Both of these have shields and warp as well, and all the other little fixings and detectors and stuff like that. And they're both tier 3 CPU. This one's coming out at 37,500 right now, and this one 38,195. Difference is this has no interior. This one does have an interior. So those are two things I've been playing around with. I might try to revamp how these outer edges are so I could get these drills in a better spot. Not sure yet. Again, these are kind of like prototypes. Like I may or may not complete them, but I wanted to learn what was going on and see how they actually performed in the real world mining and things like that. So I've been taking these out for like mining tests and whatnot. Over here, this is another high concept prototype of building some kind of, I don't know, mid-range SV. I won't say it's a heavy SV. It's not on the would be a tier, I don't know what this would be. Probably a tier 3 again in the end. Maybe. Well, actually, probably not. This would be a tier 4. Yeah, once I get the shield and warp core in here and stuff like that. I'm not 100% sure. I like kind of the front end thing. Now, I'm trying a different cockpit, trying to be different, essentially. I didn't want to do the same kind of thing that I did with the other races necessarily. And I'm not sure if I actually want a prefab cockpit in here either. You see that my big dilemma on this though is they're so much stronger. The glass for HVs and SVs, even the armored glass, is it's quite weak really. So I like that, you know, walking up into it and actually having a full interior, and it feels good. I mean, but this is tougher. I mean, so I'm experimenting with this one. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue this one or not. One thing I don't like about it is the wing pattern kind of looks like a butterfly, I would say, and it wasn't really my intent. So maybe after some restructuring or something like that, and trying to figure out what I'm trying to accomplish with this build. The idea behind this one though was it was going to have, I don't have the two more bottom turrets placed yet. I don't have that area done, but it was going to have run the 6 minigun turrets plus 4 rocket launchers, and I actually wanted to get 6 regular miniguns on here, or Gatling guns on here as well. Is that what these things are called here? Just see. Are these mini or Gatling? Mini. Okay, so did get that right. All right. But this would also have a lot of lift thrust and power. It also, I think, would need more strafing thrust since it would obviously jump into the tier 4 category. So it's mixed. I'm not sure if I want to continue this project or not. I was just figuring it out a little bit, seeing what I wanted to do, how much, where turrets were going to come into play at. And the point on why I want to run the maximum amount of turrets is if you were engaging POIs, the problem with SVs is your weapon loadouts. Um, Essentially, you've got several different kinds of weapons you can run on an SV. You know, you can run 6 Gatling guns, or 4 rocket launchers, 4 plasma guns, 4 pulse guns. The problem is you only can fire one set at a time. You can't. They're not all firing like an HV, and that's why HVs can take down shielded POIs much better. So now that there's turrets for a SV, I figured what you could do is if all these turrets could hit the POI that you're trying to attack that has a shield, and you're firing, say, 6 of these at the same time, you're likely to bring the shield down a lot quicker. And then once the shield's down, you could switch over to rocket launchers and start picking off the enemy turrets while these guns are still firing at everything and randomly probably. So there is that. Now, one last thing. Working on a pretty high concept mining machine thing. This is pretty cool. Now, this one I'm happy with the results. Now, of course, after building this here, well, it's obviously isn't finished yet. I haven't really textured any of these. I just mass filled them. I painted this one just a little bit and put a couple textures in place, but they would look a lot better. Same even goes for this one. I did a little bit of texturing, but it's not nowhere close to complete. This one, it's what it does is it's got a retractable mining drill here. And then it has a retractable multi-tool here, 4 regular Gatling turrets, and a massive amount of power and storage in it for mining. So in the actual harvest on this one, it is hitting the cap exactly at 32,000 harvest storage, and then it has 5,000 ammo storage. So it's pretty stout with all that stuff. Would have a drone hat, a couple constructors in this one. Now, I could add a little bit more to this one. Now, this one's a CPU tier 3 as well. It's coming out at 25,000 something right now. I could add in more parts, such as health or clone, but the problem is my interior space right now is so tiny, I can't fit this stuff. So I was thinking about modifying the cab a little bit so I could get more in it, essentially, and use a little more CPU. Now, this wouldn't have a shield. The shields are so expensive that it would put it in the tier 4 range, and I really didn't want to do that with this one. And after building this one, I keep on thinking, yes, I could build a version like this that is tier 2 as well. Now, this one's pretty big, but a lot of what I wanted to do is figure out exactly how effective is this kind of miner, since I've never used one like this before. And I can tell you, here's some holes. Actually, we'll just take this out a second, show you what this thing does. There. Wish there was some ore around here to show you, but let's go over here and make a hole. So with this here, you would pull up in the P menu. You have an option here for mining. And then you would have to go in the P menu. I wonder if there's a quicker way to do this too, because this kind of sucks. I would like to instantly be able to get into the harvester, but I gotta find, or the drill. So once you click here, I can access it. Oh, gotta be in the cockpit. And then now this also lights up the area for you. But what I was really impressed with, and it was said in the comments too, it's just I never used one of these. And I was thinking, oh man, I don't know how effective this is. I'm like drilling, and it's like, okay, how does this compare to a traditional a miner with, like your 6 mining drills and whatnot? Well, I can tell you what's very, very surprising with this is that although it doesn't look like I'm doing much from this perspective, you can actually zoom in too, which is cool. I'm digging really deep, and it's hard to tell here. Now, it's a little inaccurate when you're doing this. You can kind of go around in a sweeping pattern like this, but I'm thinking, well, geez, how much ore am I really getting out of here? And you can kind of look at the numbers here. It's picking up a lot, really. And here's the funky part of all this, is it doesn't look necessarily like it's very deep, but here, let me get out of this and take a look at what's going on. And you can see that this hole is going literally all the way down to the ground already. I mean, literally. It makes kind of a mess for sure, but wow. So just in that short amount of time, this entire area was mined out, literally. Well, I wouldn't say mined out. You clean up all the edges and stuff like that. So, and then basically once you mine your thing, you just move on and you're all good. And then when you want to get up to a salvage something, you could, let's say we kick that off, kick on salvaging, and let's see, get back over here, and we'll go to the multi-turret, and then I don't got nothing to salvage here, but then you're all set for doing that as well, right behind it, and it also lights up the area as well. So that is a couple things, and I think this thing is really effective. Now, it has 2 constructors in it right now. Simply, I wasn't really planning on putting in 2 constructors, but why not? It's got the CPU available, but I don't have the CPU to add a shield, unfortunately. Not with this amount of storage and the size that it is with the number of turrets and stuff. It just puts it way over, and I don't want to put it that far. But they can hold a lot. So, I mean, literally, you could touch this thing down on a planet and just go to town. It'll keep you relatively safe from, drone attacks and things like that with the 4 directional turrets. Can hold a lot of cargo, hold quite a bit of ammo. It's airtight inside. I think it actually works pretty good. Here, let me show it with with this on as well here, and that basically just kicks that off there. And yeah, originally I was thinking, oh man, I'm not sure how big of a hole it's going to make or how big I needed this area. I was trying to design this thing so it had like a big ground presence, so it wouldn't fall in the hole. I realized it's not really a problem, and I could scale everything here down, make a smaller version of this that's probably a tier 2. I also kind of left these hover engines, hover engines. They're adjustable. So when I get this out and fill it up to maximum capacity in survival, I could like move some boxes around a little bit and adjust these. Now right now I know there's more weight on the back of it. That's why I've got more of these hover engines on the rear of it. If push come to shove, I could add another hover engine on the front area as well. And this isn't fully worked out yet. I mean, there's a lot of blocks here that need some work, and I got to texture everything and whatnot. But yeah, it's kind of a fun miner, and I think literally this thing could really scoop up a lot of material pretty quickly roaming around, which would be really nice for building bigger things. So this one is definitely a go, and I'm definitely gonna complete that. Some of these, though, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep going with them or not. Maybe this one, but I would want to restructure it a lot. Get rid of that butterfly effect. This one, it works. It works. But I'm not as impressed with the SV mining drills. They got very limited range, to be honest. I don't want to dig a hole in my area here. Let me go somewhere else. This thing's wobbly right now. I haven't adjusted the controls on it, so it's a little rolly and stuff at the time. But these things, I mean, you got to be like right up there with them. But even at a distance right there, they're not targeting, so you gotta just keep on getting closer and closer. So I'm not sure on this one if my design is all that great. It works, but I think to do this, I would almost want to go with like a traditional mining drill pattern and then keep this thing pretty narrow so it could fit into mining holes, whether you're out in like an asteroid or mining like this. Um, the other one I liked a little bit better, but yeah, the mining drill distance is too far apart and I need to fix that, but trying to do it, get everything mounted like TIE fighter style over here is proving to be kind of a pain in the butt. And this has another flaw too, that directly from the side it's got no turrets or anything that can hit you. That's kind of an issue. I got these turned sideways, but they can only maybe angle out about like here. So if you came in directly from the side, um, nothing could hit you, but it still does have four-way turrets, so it probably worked pretty good. And if something started shooting you, you could always turn around and shoot it back with a couple Gatling guns. And it is shielded craft too, so there is that. So a lot of this is just kind of playing around. I wanted to get familiar with these new things and whatnot. I'm most happy with that other miner right now. These other ones, but I love doing these prototypes, experimenting, trying to learn new tricks, new stuff. Now there is a question now. Logic feature, I would like to actually put in all new ships, but I don't know how to do it, and it sounds so simple too. It's so if any of you guys know this, please comment and let me know, and I'll share the information on the next video as well. But essentially speaking, I don't want the thrusters to be on unless you're sitting in the cockpit. I heard you can do that, but I haven't a clue how. Um, for instance, if I was right here right now, this is the only time the thrusters would be on. Other than that, they would just automatically turn off. But in signal logic, I don't know how to tell it to do that. There is no... I'm missing something. Okay, so there's several things on signal logic I don't quite understand how they work. Like how would you assign, say I made a function in here, right? We'll just call this temporary. We'll just call it thrusters. So we had thrusters, and say I assigned all the thrusters to this switch. And okay, now it doesn't even need to be a switch. Maybe this would just be a circuit, I guess. But how would I get the signal from sitting in this cockpit to make that go on or off? That is the question I've got, and I don't know how to do it. If I did know how to do that, there's a lot of other things I've seen people do too, such as like it'll automatically retract turrets. Say they're on the bottom and the landing gear engaged, and it pulls the turret up automatically. Another feature I'd like to put on, ships that would have that kind of thing going on. And that's another one I really don't know how to do. Maybe I'll try to find something on the workshop and examine it. But I'm just curious if any of you know the answer to that, because it would allow for some better automation, and it's something I did want to work on too, is to get I don't know, better signal logic in some of these newer things, and maybe even if I update some of the older things, improve the signal logic there. But until I know how to do it, it's hard to do. Now, of course, I also like an immersive feeling. That's why I like to put in some manual switches on, especially bigger ships. On smaller stuff like this, not so much. I don't have room for them, but I do like that immersion where, if you want to turn on your stuff, you walk up to a switch and hit this, or, you've seen that, and I'm sure an awful lot of creations I've made so far. I've always liked that. I've always liked the Minecraft approach to things, and I was trying to usually avoid the P menu for main functions of a craft, even though it's probably, it's quicker and easier, obviously, but I don't know, I like the immersion factor of like manually doing something inside your craft, I think, too, rather than just going to the P menu for everything. But I mean, you have to anyway now with storage and with the Wi-Fi and all the other stuff. So it's like, well, maybe I should just more or less comply a little bit more to that. Still like manual switches. So, and I put in a lot of sensors too. Obviously for lights and ramps, typically for sensors. Um, but that's another thing too. Like I thought, well, maybe I just put a sensor by the pilot seat, so when you're like right near it, it'll like engage the thrusters. But it changes because if you go in the pilot seat, then and the sensor doesn't see you anymore, so that doesn't work either. So just one of those quirky things. I know I'm missing something. I know it can be done. I just somehow it's escaping me on what I'm. How do you find those, and how do you look at a part and assign a circuit to it or something? Because when I go to make a circuit as well, like for instance, say we went here and say I just randomly add a circuit. I mean, when I'm looking at the circuit, the only thing I see is the pieces I put in here. I don't see the parts to, like, I could assign a circuit of, hey, if you're sitting in the cockpit, and the thrusters are on, then engage, this signal over here, which would, make sure all the thrusters are on. But you don't see that here. So it's always kind of confused me a little bit. And I'm sure it's something really simple, too. It's just how. I don't, but I'm not sure if other people don't know that answer either. So if any of you know that, I'd really appreciate it on that. So one last thing, release schedule, Tyke Miner, maybe Saturday, maybe Sunday. It's going to coincide when T-Rex releases his SV. And then also Scar Defense Tower. So again, either Saturday or Sunday. I'd probably do them both on different days. Like if so, whatever, probably Saturday and Sunday, one of these would be released. And I got to kind of do that for a little bit until I can get all these things going here and get them released. And I've got some stuff just held back forever and a day, like this guy over here as well. This one over here, I keep on thinking, I like it, but it doesn't do much right now. It just holds stuff, and it's got survival functions in it, and it's pretty maneuverable, but it doesn't do a lot. It'd be kind of neat if it did more, but it's not really set up to do the kind of mining like I was over there. However, it could easily have a multi-tool on it to do some salvaging. I don't know. Sometimes it's kind of nice holding some things back because you look at them a few more times and like, oh, hey, maybe I could do this or improve that, or I missed a texture here or whatever. So it does give you time, and then you look over it, another time before you're ready to release it, and you can get all that stuff worked out. This guy over here would probably be released not this weekend, but the following weekend for Excalibur's challenge. That might even be doubled up with something else. Maybe this over here. So I can get all these out and then start getting caught up on all this new stuff. And as an intent of SVs, I would like to have a little bit of a range of SVs for the Scar. Creo could probably use some more, and MCRN also could use some more. MCRN doesn't have much with SVs either. The humans have the most, but a lot of them are dated too, which sucks. So I do plan on having a low tier SV for the Scar, medium-ish, like maybe a tier 2 or 3, and then I would like to do like something tough, like a tier 4 designed for heavy POI combat the best I can. Something equivalent to an SV version of what the Ripper is. I think that would be helpful too. So you get a whole barrage of options. Now another thing for the Scar 2, they don't have much else well, obviously this will be their starter CV, which is different than the other ones. Um, but they don't have a starter base or other things. So they've got some higher end stuff like this over here is, and then of course for bigger CVs. But there's a big jump between that one and this one. And cost and tiers and everything under the sun. So they might need some other kind of SV2, or I'm sorry, CV. But anyway, I'll just keep on working on stuff as I go here, and I'm not forgetting about the other factions either. I'm kind of thinking about if I were to make another one of these, there's that, where'd I put it? It's like I'm losing my toys in the room here. If I did make another type like this, which I kind of want to, I might put it out for like, say, MCRN and have it a tier 2 version with obviously less storage and less stuff on it. But same general concept is what this one is. And this actually probably is, yeah, more effective and quicker mining than conventional miner. I was pretty impressed at, the conventional miner, even when I took the modified mold T1 into a survival game. I was able to get a lot of ore pretty quickly with it after I had to fix it, and I did update the blueprint so it's working right again. But and that's cool, and it works quite well. This, I think, though, would blow the doors off it, and how much ore you could get in the amount of time, and of course it carries so much more too. So you could just go out and about for a while before you had to return. And then I got to see, of course, if the this craft is capable of moving the 32K full of like ore or salvage, and of course 5,000 ammo as well. So it's got quite a lot going on there. It's got a couple cargo boxes too. I just threw on the back. Biggest problem I've got with this right now, lacking since I've got the CPU available, it's lacking a med bay and clone chamber, and I got no room inside to put them. So that is my thing. Do they need them? Not really. I hate when I got CPU chilling at a lower tier, well, and I'm not using it all. I don't really need to add any more storage. I've maxed out the one storage. I don't feel the need to have any more ammo storage. Probably has more than it needs already. Could add some more cargo boxes or something somewhere, or a secondary storage bin, but I'm kind of out of room for stuff too. And most of this area here, like every single full block that's in here, is a cargo extension. And I was kind of playing around trying to balance out the weight, so this is all connected across, going all the way up to the front here, through the center, and then the ammo has got its own separate thing that kind of loops around the back side of this and back up and over here. So this is like part of the ammo on this one, and they both kind of join up in the middle, and you get relatively close balancing between the two. And then two constructors. I figure this is it'd probably get ore pretty fast, so you can start dumping ore in these constructors and processing it as you go. Plus, if you need more fuel out, you can always it's a little weird, but you can always pull up to a tree and get some wood, and then pop that in a constructor and have it actively turn that into biofuel as you're on the go as well. So you can kind of be self-sufficient even if you run out of fuel. But I'm not so worried about the fuel either. Even at it's got a lot of can stay going for quite a while. But that is something, maybe I will use a little CPU and add a couple more fuel tanks. It doesn't need more generators. It has 2 generators, and that is fine. If I had a shield, I'd probably want to add another one, maybe, depending on how much that takes. But as in maneuverability too, this has no RCS on it, but it is fairly maneuverable. I have to see how it does with a full load on it. So anyway, you all have yourself a good weekend, and hope you enjoyed this. And if you got any other ideas or suggestions, or especially on the signal logic, definitely open ears over here. on it, and I'd like to know how that's done. As soon as I know it, I'll use it. But until I know it, I don't really know how to make that work to use it. So that's the deal. But it would be perfect, actually. As soon as you sit, I mean, there's no reason to have your thrusters on, wasting fuel, unless you're in the pilot seat. Unless you just think it's cool to see in your ship, the thrusters work when it's parked somewhere. Um, well, maybe there's a problem with that though. What if you're in an SV and you're flying the air and you want to get out of your seat to go do something inside? Maybe, I don't know, whatever you would do inside the SV in the air. And then as soon as you get out of the seat, your thrusters turn off and then you fall to the ground. That could be a problem. Didn't think about that one. Okay. Well, anyway, y'all have yourself a good day. I will see you later.